What is going on, y'all? KM Best here, your favorite 69th ranked Marvel snapper, and I have the one good Gladiator deck that I have played to show you today. Now, you might already be familiar with this list. It was cooked up by the incredible Dara JN, and I didn't really get it at first. When I first looked at it, I was like, oh, he's playing a Clog deck. Okay, that's a little bit weird. I'm not sure what Doc Ock and Gladiator are doing for this. And then I was like, okay, I need more beef in the deck. So I swapped out his Ghost Spider for the Hood, and then it clicked. This isn't a Clog deck. It's a bounce deck. And one of the things that really stuck out to me when you look at this and compare it to, say, Darkhawk Bounce is just how many cards they actually have in common. Hood, Forge, Nico, Shadow King, Werewolf, Falcon, Beast. This whole thing is the package. The 1-drops, the Falcon and the Beast, the Werewolf, they're what make the thing work. This is, and I think this is what Dara stumbled upon, a very reasonable core in Marvel Snap. This is what a new version of a good cards deck looks like. Even Loki is cribbing from this playbook with a bunch of 1-costs, Falcon, and of course, Nico Minoru being one of those 1-costs, and Werewolf by Night as the big scaling threat. Even a deck with Loki in it is still building around this shell, even though because it's Loki, it's a little bit more stripped down and synergistic. So back to this list, that's the context you need to actually understand what this deck is trying to do. We are not a Clog deck. We do not need to run Green Goblin. We do not need to run Debris. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is Darkhawk type bounce stuff, but instead of running Darkhawk and Korg, we're running Gladiator and Dr. Octopus as our main mechanisms of generating advantage. Those are our big guys. That's actually an interesting proposition. Now, of course, we also have one other major change in this list compared to the other two that are built around the same core. That is an extra piece of tech, in this case, Shang-Chi, instead of running America Chavez. And I think moving to that extra piece of tech and removing America Chavez, that's a decision that you kind of have to make, right? That extra piece of tech is much better if you have that extra turn to draw it. When you play this deck, a lot of the time you're like, all right, I need to draw Shadow King here. I need to draw Shang-Chi here. It's very important to have that actually good card on turn 6 that you can draw. And because you are a Doc Ock deck and you very often are playing something like Doc Ock on 5 and then looking to make up the difference later, that is a very critical turn to not be drawing America Chavez and to instead be drawing something that might matter, one of your pieces of tech, things along those lines. So yes, while there are a lot of bad draws, the fact that you run so much tech means that you are generally okay with drawing a card on 6, and that means that Chavez has a bit less value. Despite the fact that I still did want to try to fit her in here, I think having that extra piece of tech does take away from it. So what does this deck actually do? I think what it demonstrates the best is that there is tech and there is a good shell around it, and that can lead to success, even with cards like Gladiator and Dr. Octopus in there. 8 of these cards are what I would describe as the core. They're the basic stuff that go in a lot of these bounce Darkhawk type decks, except we're not running Darkhawk. The Wolf bounce core is pretty much all in here, and that's what this deck is actually looking to leverage. It just leverages it in a way that allows cards like Dr. Octopus and Gladiator to serve as supreme disruption. Now, the reason this is helpful is there are a lot of just good results off of current Dr. Octopuses. Gladiator is a little bit more iffy. If you're asking me if I should buy this guy because he costs 6,000 tokens, I would still probably say no. But this is a deck that actually works. It is in high infinite. It uses a bunch of good cards in it. And this is the really important bit. Both Dr. Octopus and Gladiator are going to trigger Wolf. Big bodies with Werewolf activation attached to them is actually quite useful here. That is something that this deck has that neither the Loki deck nor the Darkhawk deck built around similar shells can access. That's not to say you need to be running Gladiator. I am fairly certain you could replace Gladiator with Polaris and still have some similarly good results. Because what's really carrying this deck is the core of 4 1-cost cards, one of them being Nico, Falcon and Beast, and Werewolf by Night. You have that core of 7 cards. You have Shadow King and Shang-Chi. That's 9 cards. That's most of the deck, and those are some really good cards. Dara was running Ghost Spider in this slot. I ended up swapping it out for the Hood because I felt like the deck needed a little bit more beef, and I think I was right about that. I even brought that suggestion up to him when he showed up in Twitch chat while I was playing this deck. I was like, you should really consider playing the Hood. I get it. Ghost Spider is a fun little scam with Doc Ock, but the Hood is going to beat multiple 6-power guys a decent amount of the time, and this deck is a deck that legitimately does need the beef that this card can provide. One of the things that I thought of when Darrow was playing it earlier was just, I need to figure out another way to get some reasonable stats into this list, and the Hood was that way. I think he is very, very good here. I would strongly suggest you include him. One of the keys to this sort of archetype is that you want to have cards that are good to bounce. Forge, great to bounce. It goes with Beast, it goes with Falcon, it goes with a ton of other stuff. It's on reveal, so it moves the Werewolf around. It's everything you could ask for from a 1-drop in this deck. Effectively a 1/3, moving the Werewolf around, effectively a 1/5, repeating it multiple times, maybe even bigger. That's the fundamental thing this deck is leveraging. Spider-Ham was actually really good for me, but I don't think he's so necessary to the list. I think if you wanted to run Iceman instead, or really any other sort of disruptive card here, I enjoyed Spider-Ham though, because it gave me a little bit of information about what I can and cannot play around in the future. It'll hit things like a Darkhawk, it'll hit things like a Shang-Chi. Sometimes it'll hit a Loki depending on how late you play it. That's also obviously very good. And so I think, Spider-Ham's a good option for this slot, but definitely not a make or break one like some of the other cards in this list. I think maybe we've all been underrating Nico Minoru a bit. Part of the reason I find this list to be so completely ridiculous is getting to play multiple Nico Minorus a game is just awesome. Nico Minoru for draw 2, bounce her back up because you definitely drew Beast or Falcon off of that, and then like Nico Minoru for a demon. And you can get a demon multiple ways off of her. Obviously, there's the one where she turns your thing into a demon, but also if you have a demon in hand, you can copy it with her. She's just ridiculous. She is just a genuinely ridiculous card. Sometimes you want to do the one where she doubles her own power. You can go Forge into her, double her up to 8, bounce her back to hand, and suddenly she's a 1/8 with a Nico Minoru attached, or even a 0/8 if you bounce her back with Beast. She's a big reason why this whole thing works, right? Like, this is the best 1-drop to be dropping multiple times during the game, maybe with the exception of the Hood. She's amazing in this core, and of course, triggering Werewolf every time. Black Widow is a card that I would say is almost a flex slot, but really she's just, good disruption that we can Beast back to hand and then repeat that disruption, and that's just enough. Black Widow is at her absolute apex in terms of viability right now, not just because of the way she disrupts your opponent, but because she moves Werewolf by Night while you do it. Anything on reveal with a beneficial effect that you can just curve out that isn't necessarily just stats that'll actually impact your opponent is very, very, very strong right now because of the way it works with Beast, because of the way it works with Werewolf. Tech slot number 1 goes to Shadow King. There is a lot of Collector in this metagame. There are still people playing Angela and Bishop. There are people playing Shuri. This guy, this Shadow King right here, will answer all of those issues. A lot of the cards in this current metagame are looking to stack green numbers over what their actual power is supposed to be. Shadow King brings them down to size for only 2 energy. You can even play Shadow King multiple times per game if you do the Beast stuff correctly. It's pretty ridiculous. You can copy Shadow King with Nico. You can play him twice with Beast. Very, very powerful as a 2/3. I spoke about him in the Darkhawk video that I did. I said he was a core piece of that. You wouldn't want to cut him. You don't want to cut him from this either. He is just great right now. Le Main Man, Werewolf by Night, is here to stay. This card is probably one of the few cards in the game that I would say is definitively worth 6,000 tokens at this point. He's so good that I wonder if they might nerf him, and that is the only reason why you would not want to get him. Very, 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 very powerful, and I think this shell really crystallized it for me, understanding that, oh, this is just what the good cards deck look like now. Beast, Falcon, 1-drops, Werewolf. That's the good card shell, and that is crazy to realize because it used to look like, kind of similar, kind of different, but Elsa type stuff, Elsa, Jeff, Kitty. I think we could be headed toward a direction where most decks are playing something like this. That is just what the good card shell might look like in the near future. And I think that is the real thing that what Dara put together really revealed to me, is just how far ahead of the metagame Werewolf is from basically everything else when you build to optimize him. Beast is phenomenal in here. A lot of my early plays are just like play a 1-drop in a lane, play a 2-drop in a lane, play a Beast. That 2-drop was Black Widow, play another Black Widow, play a 1-drop, play another 1-drop, play a Falcon, get my stuff back. The fact that Beast allows you to make 0-cost guys with Falcon is just completely ridiculous. Falcon getting back 0-cost guys is unbelievable. Having 0-cost guys in your hand is unbelievable. And of course, it all goes together because all those 0-cost guys are on reveal cards to trigger Werewolf by Night. Gladiator. I mean, he was fine for me. I think he's mostly in here because he's a new card, but he's beefy. Remember when I talked about how the deck wanted beef? I like that there is a 3/7 in here. He is not as bad as much as people sort of think he is. He was mostly just a 3/7 for me when I played him, and a 3/7 is actually legitimately good. You also have the ways to get around a bad Gladiator pull in situations involving Shang-Chi, involving Shadow King. So even if he's like really bad, usually he's pretty reasonable. And generally just being a 3/7 made me feel good about him. You're not actually using him to like clog your opponent's board or mill him out, but you are a deck that can take advantage of some clogs some of the time. I rarely bounce him, but sometimes you do if you think there's going to be a good lane to play him in too late. It is the kind of card that you can lose the game off of though, so do really pay attention to like the kind of archetypes your opponent might be playing. I remember a specific game against Shuri where I was just like, this is not a card I can actually play. I just had to like leave him out of the game plan entirely, and that's fine. Normally you can do that. One of the other upsides that Gladiator has, in addition to mostly being a 3/7, again, not always, is that he will trigger Werewolf by Night, and that is, I know I've said that like 15 times in the video, but that is the name of the game. Oh, and if you want to replace him with Polaris because you don't want to spend 6,000 tokens on this guy, I fully support that. Not only did I net deck Dara's deck, I net decked his Shang-Chi split. That's right, we have the same Shang-Chi split now. And of course, there's no reason not to run this guy in a deck like this. In fact, there are ample reasons to run this guy, especially in this version of the deck. Here's why. When you're playing the Darkhawk version of this, you end up disrupting them enough that you'd rather focus on your proactive game plan. When you're playing cards like Dr. Octopus and Gladiator, there can be some significant downsides to that. Most of those downsides involve very big dudes. Shang-Chi cleans up those very big dudes. Doc Ock, I almost feel like would be better if he was a 5/9 so he couldn't pull opposing Shang-Chis and immediately die. I think, honestly, if Doc Ock were a 5/9, this deck would be legitimately a lot better. Unfortunately, he is a 5/10, so you do have to worry about the risk of pulling your opponent's Shang-Chi and immediately dying. The major advantage that Doc Ock gives you is just general information and messing up your opponent's turns. There's a lot of decks right now that have cards in their hand that aren't particularly good all of the time. Like Loki, for example, especially if they're going to Loki you on 5, if you have priority, you pull this, they're suddenly getting a lot less cards out of your deck than you think they are. That's usually a good place to be. Now, that said, there can be some bad pulls. Most of the time, it's like certain decks you don't want to play this guy against, you don't want to play Gladiator against, you have to be a full-on bounce deck in some of these matchups against things like Shuri or, you know, lesser seen stuff like High Evolutionary where you don't want to pull a Hulk or an Goliath or whatever. But generally speaking, against a lot of the top tier decks, stuff like Destroy, generally you pull stuff and then you can clean it up, or it's just not that good in the first place. Stuff like Loki, again, there's a lot of low power cards in hand a lot of the time. It can be good there. Now, one issue you may have is with Loki, one of the things I noticed when I was playing against Dara was that I would just Loki on 4 and then Doc Ock him, and it would be worse for him than it was for me. So there is something about that matchup that's like, you kind of need them to not Loki you on 4 and then Doc Ock you, because that is a bad situation, I think. I will say that I think Doc and Gladiator are like weirdly very strong for what they are here, which is mostly because of the way Werewolf works and the fact that your big stat guys in this list are going to proc Werewolf. And unfortunately, for the 29th time in this video, that matters. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to jump into some gameplay in High Infinite. I used this deck to get back into the top 69, so thank you for everyone who believed in me. It was a long, arduous journey of the 2 days we spent outside of the top 69, but we are back. Thanks so much. I will see you in the next one. Remember to like and subscribe and turn on notifications and do everything that makes me feel good about running a YouTube channel. Dopamine receptors love it when you do that. We're going to jump into some gameplay. I've been Cam Best. You've been amazing. I'll see you in the next one. Even if Magneto... Ooh. Actually, yeah, if Magneto wasn't on Fisk, we probably would have won that. Yo, we got a bunch of cards that are actually in our deck. We got a bunch of cards that are actually just straight up in our deck off of that Triskelion. I have no idea if that was a real one or a randomly generated one. Fuck. Yeah, I don't love this, but it's fine. We pull MODOK. That was a real black cat then? Oh, we kill a Dracula. I like that. We finally drawn Wolf, which is good. Hood. No! Damn. Jesus Christ! Does this win? Let's do it, baby! Oh, wait, no, I'm losing 8. I'm losing 8. I just realized. Oh, I just realized I'm losing 8. Wait, what? I'm not losing 8! Holy shit. Because we pulled one swarm already. Oh, I'm the best! Ooh! Ooh! Shit! Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I'm gonna get to 650. So we can hit that, Wolverine cosplay. How's this one? Oh, MTG Bot's kind of bad at that stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. MTG Bot's kind of bad at this. So, yo, Ash Tree Dweller with the gift sub and the hype train. Thanks so much. What's your favorite cosplay you've done so far? Oh, definitely KM Vest. The Legion one we did. Are you using the tracker from Marvel Snap Pro? I am not. KM Vest, the Legion cosplay. That was the shit. Whoa, they snapped me? What are they snapping me about? Oh! So that's what they were doing that about. I see ya. So go Werewolf over here. Forge over here. No. We go Werewolf over here. Forge, Demon over here. Spider Ham over here. Question. Hard question to answer, I would say. Yo, we're going crazy with the forges here. We're going Forge into Spider Ham into Forge. We're going nuts. We're throwing Forges around like it's no tomorrow. What's your favorite archetype? Most decks like this are just like mid-rangey decks with good cards in it that play a bunch of different things. We got a Khazar. Are they Zooin? We legitimately might not be able to beat that. There's like some unironic, we actually kind of can't beat that stuff sometimes. Have you seen that Ravona Wolfhawk list? I have not. It sounds weird. What are you right now? Destroy, draw 2? That is the best thing I could have gotten. So this is destroy, draw 2. We go We send back these 4. We get a demon and 2 cards. Destroy a forge to get another demon? I'm good. Still Khazar. There goes a Shangers. Oh, that demon. Okay. So. Demon. Well, wolf over there. Right? Then we have Forge to... Forge to wolf over there. And then we go... Like that? Wolf won't go left. I know. I am distinctly aware that wolf does not go left here. I have figured that one out. That's why we played the Shadow King left. Because Wolf, Shadow King, and a handful of Sentinels, we basically never lose over here. We basically never lose the left on that. Oh, we're back, baby. We're back, baby. A coincidence indeed. Got a hazmat. Aight. How you liking Dara's list? It's good. Killed a sunspot. Wait, you cut the Yondu? I cut the Ghost Spider. That card seems quite problematic. Six cards in hand, huh? Oh, hell yeah. Uh, 31 minus 16 is 15. Only problem is Eliath. It is a problem. Oh, it's not a problem. Shangers. The Shanger banger coming in hot. So we saw every card in their deck there. We saw every card in their deck there. Notice, by the way, that we also didn't leave ourselves open to that exact situation tying it by just playing Shang. Stupid Killmonger. Stupid sexy Killmonger. I've played this opponent before. I have two. They're not free to play. They are a liar. Maybe then it means free to punish because of the Punisher avatar? Maybe. Dude, they're doing a better bounce thing than I am. It's fucking me up. Is Maria Hill replaceable with Agent 13 in the Loki deck? Yeah, it's just worse. Enjoy my hood. I have no idea where this goes, honestly. Recommended subs for Nico? You don't play this shit without Nico, honestly. Yeah, okay. Tiebreak win? Oh my god. Oh my god. The tiebreaker dub. Or one of the lanes. KX, I want to know what you were bruhing me about. I gotta know, man. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Oh, sneaky play. All right, I'll play it. Fair enough. It was directed at Tanjo? Okay. Okay, so we go Hood. Are we Gladiator gamers? Not against Sauron? Maybe that's right. Does this person play Eliath? I feel like in your Armor Enchantress deck, you probably do not. I'm an idiot. Wait. I win! I'm a genius!